Hello guys, Gameboy Hub here, and in today's video I'm going to be building my ultimate Windows XP gaming PC. Now I have been waiting for this for quite a long time and I am very excited to finally share it with you guys. This video was filmed over a period of about 3 months, which is how long it took me to locate all of the parts. Most of the parts are period correct, excluding the hard drive, the DVD drives, and the power supply. And I also wanted to mention that these parts definitely aren't the best that were around at the time, but this PC is still definitely very high-end for Windows XP gaming. So yeah, let's get started with the video. For the motherboard, I'm going to be using the Socket 939 version of the DFI Lanparty Nf4. Now I chose this board because it has so many amazing features, like built-in audio, 2 PCI Express slots, and also it has 4 SATA ports. It takes DDR1 RAM, which is okay, DDR2 would be preferable though. And I also like the color scheme and the overall aesthetic of the motherboard. Now firstly, this board will need a little bit of care, so I will need to replace the thermal paste on the onboard chipset, and I will also need to add a cooler to it. Now these components already came with the board, they just weren't attached for some reason, but it is even better because I would have to do this anyways. I will also put in a brand new CMOS battery, and here you can see the removable sound card that you can just plug into the board, and you have a sound card, you don't need to worry about it. So let's plug that in as well. For the processor, I went for the AMD Athlon 64 3200 Plus, which is clocked at 2 GHz. Now this is definitely not the most powerful CPU that this board can take, but this is the only Socket 939 CPU that I had lying around, and I think it will be perfectly fine for this machine. I'm going to be using 4 1GB sticks of RAM, and now you might be saying that it is a bit overkill for Windows XP, and it really is. You normally only need 1 or 2 GB, but since I have all of these sticks laying around, why not put them to good use? And to cool down the CPU, I'm going to be using the very popular Zalman flower cooler. Now there were several variations of this cooler, I have this particular one, I have no idea which one it is, but the most important thing is that it fits on the motherboard and it looks quite cool. So now it is the time to put all of the components onto the motherboard, so I'm going to start with the CPU. So I'm just going to put it in the socket, and then I'm going to be screwing in the standoffs for the CPU cooler, like so. And I'm going to apply some Arctic MX4 thermal paste to the processor. And then I can put on the cooler in the right orientation and screw it in. And we can't forget to plug in the fan. So now I will put in the RAM, and I will only put in 2 GB for now. After I install Windows, I will put in the remaining 2 GB, just so it doesn't mess with the installation in some way. And here you can see the onboard power switch and the reset switch, which I'm going to put to good use right now, because I want to test the board before I put it in the case. So let's see if it works. I just plugged in a random power supply and a random graphics card. Yes, the board seems to post just fine, as you can see. So now when we are sure that all the components work, we can go over to the case. And for the case, I'm going to go for a Cooler Master Centurion 5, just because it has that very nice late 2000s aesthetic. And it is also a full tower case, which will be plenty of space for this PC. The only thing that this case is really missing is a clear side window, but personally it doesn't bother me that much. So the first thing we need to do is put in the motherboard's I/O shield, and then we can put in the motherboard. And we will also need to screw it in, of course. So now I will just plug in all of the front panel connectors as well as the USB connections. And for the power supply, I went for this brand new Xilence 600 watt unit. I think 600 watts will be completely fine for this machine, and I wanted to go with a brand new unit just because old power supplies can go bad and potentially fry components. So we can slot the brand new power supply inside of the case, and we also need to screw that in. And then we can plug in all of the connections. As for the DVD drives, I just went with these random DVD RW drives. I just had these lying around and they were black, that's mostly why I chose them. As you can see, one has a SATA interface and the other one has IDE, which is perfect for this motherboard. For the hard drive, I went for this Toshiba 500GB unit. I just pulled it out of some other computer and had it lying around. And it was a SATA hard drive with pretty decent speeds, so that's why I chose it. You might also think that 500GB is a bit much for a Windows XP machine, but since I have a lot of games, it will be put to good use. And finally, for the most important part, the GPU, I went for the Nvidia 8800 GTS. This card has 320 megabytes of VRAM, and it will be perfect for this era of games. There is a 512 megabyte version of this card which would be even more perfect, but I found this one for $5 at the flea market, so I really cannot complain. So let's just install it into the PC. And for the last component, I will just install this random LED fan I just found at the store. I thought it looked really cool with the 3 colors, so that's why I picked it. And here is the finished PC. Now I also did some cable management, which I just did off camera, so that is why it looks this nice. So right now I will need to hook everything up and install Windows, and for the Windows version I went for the Windows XP 64-bit, and the reason I chose the 64-bit version is simply because I never installed it and I thought it would be very cool to have it running on such a powerful system. Also, if you are a bit confused as to why the fan and the graphics card are missing from the system in this footage, that is because this was shot quite a while back. This was filmed back when the PC wasn't even finished and I didn't even have all of the parts to complete it, but I just wanted to install the Windows. So now just enjoy the 1-minute time lapse of the entire Windows installation. And there you go, Windows has been installed. So now the only thing left is to install all of the necessary drivers. So we will need the drivers for the graphics card, the onboard audio, and we will also need the LAN driver. And after all of them have been installed, we can finally play some of my favorite games. I will be showing the FPS of all games in the top left corner, and I am using a program called Fraps to show it. And also pretty much all of the games are maxed out both with the resolution and the settings, except for Far Cry 2 and Crysis. So enjoy the benchmarks.
shackles that one to the wall and takes the other one off the table. Dr. C, is everything all right down here?
Listen, dirtbag, keep an eye out for some punk in a red Hawaiian shirt. If you see him, call me at once. Am I understood? Yes, yes, sir. I'm heading out.
It's probably the last one I this country, full of rich people, running money and connections to get you up.
So yeah, that was my ultimate Windows XP gaming PC build. All of the games I tested ran absolutely fine, with the exception of Far Cry 2. Far Cry 2 was quite choppy, but it was playable after all. If you lowered the resolution, you could get fine performance even out of that game, and the biggest surprise was Crysis, which ran amazing. It ran at 60 FPS with the full resolution of the monitor and the high settings. Overall, I am very happy with the performance of the computer and with its cost. The whole build ended up costing me only about $50, and that price tag is actually quite higher because I bought a new power supply which was $30, but if I used an older one, the entire build would have been around $20. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Also, please check out my Twitter and Instagram and my Patreon page, and I will see you guys in the next video.